As I have the Big Boy on the layout, I thought I'd give a quick update on how things have been going since I installed the decoder. So right now we're about to go past one of the 3 spots that I had to change up on the layout, specifically the curvature and just I guess the flatness of my track. Everything has always been good here until I got the Big Boy, and of course, just due to all the wheels involved, the track had to get critiqued a bit. As I mentioned in the past, I put a Digitrax decoder in there. I have the DZ126, and if you look closely, you'll see the harness that I use. Pretty much had a couple of wires that I think I cut off of one of the signal wires coming from Atlas, it looks like. But that harness, in my opinion, is very important, and I think you need to make sure you can give it as much leeway as possible to get through the curves if you have tight curves on your layout. And if you have an elevated curves like you see right here, I think you need to pay much more attention to it. And in my case, I had to revise both tracks. Had a bit of trouble with the 4015. Actually, way more issues than the actual Big Boy. But anyway, I think I was talking about the harness, and I think that is one of the more critical parts to getting through the tight curves. And I wonder how Kato is going to work that out. I went ahead and got a flat car. I was going to put some like Union Pacific Ford trucks on it, but I changed my mind on that. Can't see it in this view, but I did install lights on each car, and I added a Bayside caboose. That was based on a video that I saw like in '96. It was something similar to that, so I thought it would be cool. Had tons of trouble with those front wheels. I forgot what the official name of them are called, but you know, I pretty much just travel, or excuse me, follow the Big Boy. And anywhere where I saw some issues with the track, I kind of modified it by, my go-to is pretty much making the outer rail elevated, just due to where you'll most likely have an issue with those wheels. And one of my rules is, right, if this engine can get through it, then all my other engines could as well. There's the Big Boy coming from the upper level, getting down without any derailments, which is always a good sign. Don't have sound, of course, but I do like to hear those natural sounds of the wheels getting through the rails and the curves. So I just wanted to drop a few notes or thoughts that I had on the install of the Big Boy. You know, I didn't take the best pictures as I was doing the install since I was just focused on getting things back together. The one thing that I wanted to make a comment on, because I saw this a couple of times on the comments in the videos, you actually only need one decoder to do this install, and it's pretty much how should I say, the correct term is putting the two motors in parallel with respect to the leads on the decoder, but yeah, you're pretty much controlling both motors at the same time. On the frame, the internal frame, what I did to route the cables that I had to install is I just kind of, if you can imagine, you want the wires towards the center, so I kind of drilled out a makeshift hole on just one side of the split frame, but I'm sure someone would find a better way to route the wires. I chose to do it closer to the middle as possible because I was concerned with putting the shell back on. Just in the past with doing decoder installs, I kind of compromised the shell because of the additional volume that I had to take. So once I was able to put the shell back on correctly, as you can see in the middle, give me 1 second. In the middle, that's my harness right there. And since I didn't do anything with the headlight, the front headlight, this harness is minus 2 conductors. So it's pretty much just the wires for both motors, so just 4. As far as joining them together with respect to the decoder, I did that. Of course, everything is in the tender, but the idea was to have this be temporary, so I didn't tape down the decoder. It's kind of just floating in there. I didn't heat shrink any of the wires. I just used the Kato tape to insulate. With like I said, the idea it was to go back in there and do a sound decoder install. The original plate to keep things way down is still in there. As far as the strips for the wheels, the conductor strips, what I did was well, they are initially connected to all of the wheels, but what I did was on the back of the tender, I bent the strips back so they wouldn't touch those wheels, and by doing that, I used the ends of those strips. Those are where I soldered from the decoder to the trucks. In the future, I would like to get another Big Boy and do an install on my own if I can get some of my engines that I don't use sold off. And I plan that out a bit more with regards to this tender. And since the official version will have the soundtracks, I would go for it with that. And I've done sound installs with soundtracks on the P42, and that went well. The only thing on the P42s is that there wasn't enough space to install the current keeper. So with having a tender and all that extra space, it would be nice to get the current keeper installed. And based on the P42, sometimes it did shut down, not shut down, but it would do the temporary shutdown because I didn't have the current keeper. I haven't ran it in a while, but it was okay enough for me. So that is a future project. Trying to see if there's anything else that I can say about the Big Boy. I mean, I don't know much about all the additional lighting options that people are installing. And I've heard of people doing the fire or whatever. There is provisions for the backlights. I haven't seen any videos, any prototypical videos on how the lights work on that, so wasn't really concerned with that. But if I am able to get another DC version that I can work on, I'll try to figure out how to do the front headlights. As I mentioned in the past, it just seemed like a bit too much, and I didn't want to compromise any of the movements of the wheels. And it's a good thing that I didn't. To be completely honest, I did leave out two parts when installing things back together. Well, the one part was something that was really internal. Didn't see any use for it, so it was like a, hold on, I'll get that piece for you. So I left off this piece. You can go online and look at the exploded view and see where that goes approximately, but I didn't know what the use of it would be for, so hasn't caused any harm to the engine yet, not having it. The other part that I left off, and I actually took it off after this was after the install, and I realized that I could not get through the tight curves as I was doing in DC mode versus DCC. But this was towards the front. I took it off after. I should have kept it on there, but you really can't see it. This is pretty much goes, focus. This pretty much is like connects on the bottom of this cylinder in the middle and then connects on to the trucks. As I said, you really can't see it, see that it's missing. But anyway, the only way to get that back on is if I were to disassemble again in the future. So of course that stays off. I'm getting things started to go back up to the top level. Test the track out more and more. But I'm satisfied with the Big Boy. This is my first steam engine. I thought they were more complicated than they actually are. Maybe they are complicated and I just understand it though. You know, as far as getting them back together. Can't wait to get the 844.
Thanks for watching.